Hello friends, you're with the Lonesome Gamer and I'm playing 1860. Now we're coming slowly to the end of the game. I think this is not going to be the last video, but I assume that we'll probably only see one more video after this one here. We are now in phase F. Next train to be purchased is the G train, and I find it worth mentioning that you know how far spread out these companies are. It's interesting that there is not a lot going on here in the upper half, and we've seen a lot of swallowing of the leading companies, some insolvencies, and then we've seen some companies, here the insolvent ones going down, and we've seen some restarts in the last stock round. So it's interesting to see the development on the market there. And I wonder if this is just poor playing that it's not going really up, or maybe it's actually just this wild restarting of companies that brings the majority or leaves the majority down here, this abuse of companies and the focusing only on a couple ones. I don't know that. This game is tricky to play, and I'm a bit overwhelmed by the tactical and strategic options you have in this one. So we start with the C and N, these guys here. We're going to upgrade this one, and that becomes now quite valuable here. So that is Coes, and that goes up to 60, so it's one of the most valuable locations now. And because it's our hometown, that means we always have to start here. So this is definitely in our interest. We got a 5+3 train now, so we can do kind of like 60, 120, 160, 200, and I guess 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, actually I could go like this, which is probably better. Let's see, 120, 160, 180. So that would be 230, and then I can take this one, which brings me to 250, and then I can take 2 more for the company here. So it's 250, which is pretty good. I'm gonna pay that out. That's a double jump, really cool. 20 going to the company. I still could lay a token, but I don't think I want to do this here. I could lay a token here, but I don't really want to block my other companies. Got one down here, maybe later one here. So if I lay a token here, these get kind of blocked. Not interested in doing this. And so now I'm going to buy the 6 train. I still don't have a permanent train, so therefore this is now probably the time to get one, especially because if I would not buy this train, this guy can do it. He just has 720 bucks. But if I do buy the train, he cannot afford the next one. He has to go into insolvency, and that would be then definitely a problem for this player down here. So therefore, I'm absolutely interested in buying this one for 700 bucks. Interesting to note that I still got about 250 bucks sitting here And that is always a bit frustrating. Kind of could have probably saved me one swallow, but wasn't that easy to predict. And if I needed to buy an A7 train, for example, an H train, then maybe it would have been good to have more cash. But yeah, it kind of sucks now that I'm sitting this in here and I don't really need it. Eventually maybe I can place a token somewhere to hurt other players, but right now I don't see an option. So we go now into phase G, which means that the D trains rust. And what's also interesting to see, the certificate limit goes away from now. And the stock price does not change. Okay, that's a big deal. Gotta check that. Is that really the case, that you can no longer bring down the stock price with selling shares? Because if that's the case, that would mean that these two companies cannot get restarted. They cannot be go into bankruptcy, at least not by selling shares. So that would be a bad thing, because that's something I would like to do. I would like to bring this company into bankruptcy and then restart it. Because right now I don't have that many shares, but yeah, as mentioned, it doesn't help me not to buy that train, because then simply this guy does it. And I got to check if this is really the case. That's a big deal. Yeah, it's actually indeed a fact. So selling shares does not drop their value anymore. So the D trains go away now. That means we got two of them here, and they disappear. Okay. And now it is the IWNJ. And there's definitely some frustration here. We do not have a train, and there's basically nothing I can do here. So I guess I simply drop in value and I have to go insolvent. Now the good news is it's basically just for this turn, and in the next turn I can already buy the train. I'm just lacking about 80 bucks here, but yeah, it still kind of sucks. I basically kind of lose a run. Otherwise I could have bought the train this turn, but okay, it's not such a disaster as for some of the other companies, but it's definitely not good. Similar situation for the IOW. They also do not have a train. So again, they cannot build anything. You cannot upgrade without a train, and laying a standard track is not possible either for these guys. So therefore, they also go into insolvency. It's interesting, will that be also for only a single turn? Now that is not so sure. They might even have to go through this for 2 turns, it seems. Yeah, probably. I mean, they might consider... No, it doesn't really help them buying this train up. Nah. I think they just have to somehow go through this for 2 turns. It's not great, but yeah, okay. Now we see these guys here. The BHI and R, they do have a permanent train. Not the best one, but still. So let's see what they can do. Now these guys run for 23. Considering their share value of 62, that is pretty impressive. So that's a triple jump. That's pretty cool. And of course they will pay out here. The S&C did upgrade this one. They got exactly 40 bucks, which allows them to place their last token. Their goal is to upgrade this. Is that even possible? Yeah, I guess it should be. So their goal is to upgrade this, and then they could go from here with their 4 train 1, 2. It's not really, actually this isn't so great. Maybe that's not even that good. If I skip this, it doesn't really help me that much. I would end up, yeah, I got a 3 train. I mean, I got a 4 train. So maybe that is actually not, maybe I'm better off going 1, cutting through here, and then kind of like 2, 3, and then I could skip this and could at least go to Newport here. It's not great either way, but I think I'm in a better shape if I go that way. This cannot be blocked by anybody, and I could actually place a token here instead. You know, I think this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to place a token here, upgrade this, make a connection here. Now this isn't too great, but gives me access to Newport. It's not a great company, that's for sure. These guys are run for, let's see, 3, 4, 6, 10, 11, 17, 18. This one here. So, and I can even take this one, I guess. So that would be 19. I mean, it's not great, but it's not terrible either. So yeah, I guess 19 is my run, and I get a couple of bucks into the company, but that doesn't change a lot. I think I get about 40 bucks into the company. So the FYN is not in a good position. They are cut off here. They have a 5 train. Now they can go 1, 2, 3, and then what? They can go through here, kind of skip that, and then go here. That would be 4. At least that would give them the 20 here. They might consider upgrading this, which would allow them to go down here, and then they could go 1, 2, 3, skip this, and then run 5 down here. But that would only give them 70, all these 3 locations, while these 2 locations up here would actually give them 80. And then instead of upgrading this, they could simply upgrade that and make 30 bucks more out of this if they upgrade this to 60. I think that makes more sense to them. So in the end, they probably cannot really run the 5 train to the full extent, but I just don't know. I don't see any other choice. Now what's important is, if these guys here next turn, they're gonna buy the 7 train, and if that happens, we can only lay track until during this cycle, the actual cycle of operating rounds, and after that the map is frozen. There's gonna be no more track lay, and there's gonna be no more token placement. So basically, all the companies except for those three only have one more track lay action, because we only have one more stock operating round, and these three will only have two. So that is something to consider here. And you know, it doesn't make sense to think, we're gonna have 5 or 6 more operating rounds, so we can still do some optimistic construction actions here. This is simply not going to happen. We only have 1 or more tile actions, and then we're done. So I think what we should do is we should upgrade this one to 60. This is pretty valuable. And then, okay, it's not great. So these guys now run for 120. 130, 150, 210, and then about 40 bucks. Well, actually 50 bucks go into the company's treasury. The problem is they cannot even lay a token anymore. They are totally blocked off here. Yeah. I mean, 210 at least allows them also a triple jump. Most of the companies that were in this lower area did a triple jump now. But it's not a lot of money that comes in. Yeah. We'll see. You also want to have high runs, and you will see later why. When the game ends in this case, we're going to see a game end due to the formation of the British Railways. And basically what that means is that the advantage you get from high value runs is even massively increased. We'll get to this why in a minute, or when it comes to this. But yeah, that's not so great. 230 isn't too impressive. So actually I think I miscalculated the run of the BHI and R. I rated them far too high. I gave them 23, and I think I calculated this, which they had to skip 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm pretty sure I did it like that, which is obviously not true. Instead, that's what I did. So they get a 4 train, and they cannot go there. So what do they do instead? That's really bad for them now. They can go 1, 2, maybe skip this, and then 3, 4. That is probably more reasonable for them. So I think I did an upgrade here. I gotta kind of fix a couple of things here, but that's I don't want this then. This makes no sense. Instead, I think I might want to upgrade Ventnor down here. I can't do that because that is blocked, but that wasn't blocked. That when these guys ran, that was blocked by the S&C, which ran after them. So actually I get the chance to upgrade Ventnor, because if it's blocked, you cannot upgrade. You have to reach that destination with your train. 1, 2, 3, but I cannot get there with a 4 train because that wasn't blocked, so I couldn't skip it. But okay, at least what I could do is I can upgrade this. And let's do that. That's hilarious. Okay, let's do it like this. So yeah, that company is clearly not in a good shape. Okay. You know, actually, I probably want to do that because eventually I can go to Ventnor, but as long as this is not blocked and I cannot skip that, that means I can basically run here for 6, 8, 12, 15. So I only run for 150. And if I go this way that I planned before, at least then I can go for 6, 8, 10, 16. So that's even better. Okay. Wow, that is so bad. What a terrible run. So I have to fix that. Basically, they lose 7 per share. This guy loses 7 per share, which is a significant amount of cash. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So he loses 63 bucks here. And of course we also have to adjust the share value. So yeah, I guess the fact that this company is performing so poorly now will definitely take away any chance from him for winning. I really was pretty sure that he would win, but now it's looking much better for him. The only problem he has is that he might have less shares. He cannot restart this, which is a problem. And, you know, he has 3 shares or 5 shares of the 2 companies up here. And that might be, in the end, that's clearly an advantage. I think he has much more shares, but they are not that great. At least not the ones down here. Okay, and now these guys are operating and they will now get 220 bucks, both of them, into the treasury. So we start with them. That is clearly not enough, so they're going down. And then the others, they also receive 220. Okay, there we go. I wonder if that company can survive. Let's see. They are now sitting at 400. Now, if they run, actually, it seems they might be able to survive. So if they run for 2 more turns, yeah, these guys can survive. Well, that's even better news for him. Yeah, they're now sitting at 400. If they run for 2 more turns, this value will drop. But in the end, when they are exactly at 7, they were going to be able to buy a train. And that will then help them. I wonder, you know, actually, I wonder if I have enough cash in here. No, I don't. To shuffle the train, to buy the train down, but now I'm only at 700, so I can't do it. I could do it in the next turn, but I don't think I want to, basically. It doesn't really help me that much. So yeah, it seems that at least these guys can survive. They don't quite make it. The NGSTL, they will go into bankruptcy before they have the cash they need. So we see now this is going to be now the last operating round where anything on the map can happen. So we really got to think about what's that gonna be. It would be great to upgrade these dots, for example, to anything that can make money, right? But it's interesting to see that we just will not get to that. And I am surprised. I think that, you know, I have a feeling that we haven't seen that many tile actions over the whole game as I've seen in many of the other games that I've played. Maybe the reason is because so many companies were abused and were insolvent for such a long time. These guys basically lose all their upgrade options, which would be valuable. I mean, right now, half the companies, literally half the companies, are not allowed to do upgrade actions or to do any tile actions, basically, because, well, you cannot lay tiles. The only tile actions that are possible cost money. So that's pretty crazy, and that might explain that. The runs would be obviously also clearly higher, because you could take an unlimited amount of these dots now with these X trains, but they are worthless. They only bring money in the company, except for very few, like this one or that one here. And this is pretty much it. We got in this one, so we got 3 dots. There's another one here. But anyway, so what I got to do now is I got to upgrade this to make sure that I can run my 6 train in a reasonable manner here, because, so this is the CNN. I can start here, 1, 2, 3. I can cut through here. I got to skip this guy. And then it's 4, 5, 6. Sadly, I cannot go here to Ventnor, because in this game, you know, in other games, you could basically do something like go here, then go down here, and then go here. But in this game, when you entered a hex with a train, you cannot enter it a second time. So this movement doesn't work. Or once you leave a hex, you cannot enter it again. So that would also mean, for example, I could not run from this tile or from this city down here and then in the end up in Newport again. I couldn't do that, although it's a different city. I also could not use both of those. I thought about that once, but this is also something in every other 18xx, this would be not an issue. But here it's not allowed. Once you leave a hex, you cannot re-enter it. Okay, now this guy is running for 29. He's got the best run at the moment, and it's a 29 run. This is just absolutely terrible. Okay, the biggest trains are not out yet, but wow, this is just horrible. And I'm not used to such terrible results even in that game. Okay, so 29. I mean, okay, it still gives me a double jump, but only this time. And you know, if I would make it into these upper areas, which is not going to happen, I could not even advance any further because I'm paying out so little here. Yeah, and of course I got to pay out the money. So the IWNJ, these guys, they are insolvent. They drop in value. They cannot upgrade anything. But they get 220 bucks. And that will now finally allow them to buy a train. And actually they got now a couple of bucks left, but that doesn't do them any good anymore. So for 800 bucks, they get this train. And this player really fucked this up. I could have avoided the insolvency, I guess, if during an earlier point, I think there was enough money here. If I had purchased, I don't really remember, but I think it was when I purchased this train, I still had a couple of bucks in there, and I could have bought over one of these trains and transferred the money in here. I'm pretty sure about that. I think that would have saved me from going insolvent, but I just didn't realize that there was no G-train available anymore for me. I thought I just had the cash. I didn't realize that I had to go for an H-train, so I kind of lost that run here. But at least it was only a single one, but I mean, it's still painful. Okay, and now we go to this whole pile of tokens here. So we start with the IOW, which is also still in insolvency. So they will go down, and they don't have it. Oh, by the way, I forgot about that. So the H train was purchased, and that means now the Southern Railway forms. And what that means is, from now on, as I said, after the next stock round, tile actions and also tokens are not available anymore. And then we have to check for the nationalization. So basically, nationalization will occur if every company held by players owns a train. And that is checked at the end of the stock round and at the end of each operating round. And if that's the case, every company held by players has a train, then the nationalization will start. Now let me quickly explain how that happens. Basically, at that point, and we can already do that before, because there's nothing going on the map anymore, we have marked the runs here on that track, so we know how much revenue every company makes, and that will not change. This is basically frozen then. And then from the start of the nationalization, every operating round, I think at the end of every operating round, I'm not sure, I gotta check if it's at the start or at the end of every operating round, the two companies that make the lowest income will simply close. I mean, they don't close, but they are basically flipped. The shares stay in play and they keep their value, but they will not operate any longer. They will be nationalized. So that means basically that the less income you have, the less operating rounds you get until the game ends, and the less share value you can make. And that's what I meant by having high revenue runs is so important in this game, because a company that has really high revenue runs will maybe get 2 or 3 more operating rounds than a company with really low runs. So that's a big deal here. And that's bad news for someone who owns 90% of such a bad company here. So it might be even worth considering, kind of swapping trains or something like that. Maybe that is actually something you should do. Say, okay, fuck it, but I can't do it because I cannot buy the last train of a company if I own a train. So I cannot even do that. And I guess that's a good thing, because that would just slow down the game. The BHI and R, they run for $17. They can either go that way, here, with their 4, or here with their 4x train. I mean, this is hilarious, you know, 17 bucks. This is something you make in the mid game of other games. It's just such a horrible run toward the end of the game, but okay, so we make still a double jump here, but only this time. And yeah, we got to pay out, obviously. The S and C, they ran for 20 by starting down here, going up here, taking this town, skipping that, and then ending here. Well, actually I realized they can only run for 19. I thought they could take this, but obviously they can't. So it's gonna be 19 for them. And that means this guy loses another $6. Oops. My goodness. And the FYN, they run for, I think that was 23. I think they run actually for 23 now. So this is here, they did an upgrade here. So that's 13, 14, then they're gonna skip that, 17, and then go here, that's 23. So they can run their 5 train to the full extent. But I mean, yeah, it's still not a great run, obviously. But at least at the moment, it's the second best run, which is pretty valuable. You know, I realized when I don't upgrade this, leave it like that, I get $10 less. That's not what I realized, but that is something I have to keep in mind. Nope, wait a minute. I didn't pay him out yet, so he's gonna get his money. But what I'm gonna do is, instead, I wanna upgrade this. The reason for that is, let me see. So probably, I guess I want something like this. Yeah. So the reason why I want that is it will give the IOW quite an advantage. I mean, they will get a 7 train eventually, and they got to run that somehow. And if we make a connection here, they can basically kind of do something like all the way here and then end up here. And that's pretty good. They can run that train to the full extent, and that gives them, I don't know, an additional 60, while I only lose about 10. And I think this is worth it. So I run for, wait a minute, I run for 22. You know, I'm really close here, 600. I thought about buying this train over, and then I'm just missing $20. That's a shame. I could have swallowed here. Maybe I should have done that. Maybe I should have swallowed, but you know, now it's too late. 2 other companies have operated now. If I would have swallowed, I could have bought the train over and then bought a big 7 train in there, and that would have been much, much better. But, damn. Yeah, I kind of missed that. Okay, fuck it. I mean, technically nothing really happened. These guys just simply received their cash. There was no placement, there was nothing going on. It was already obvious that this would happen. So I really feel like maybe I should allow this to go back here and give him the chance to swallow the 220. Yeah, you know, I think I want to do that. I think I'm going to give him the the opportunity here. Yeah, I think I want to do that. It was such a stupid mistake that I could have easily seen that if I just focused a little more. So I swallowed here, and now this company will not die, because now they can buy the train for the $600. There's no need to keep any cash now, and that gives them now more than enough to buy a big 7 train, which also will give him some advantage because he owns 9 shares of that company. So I think this is just, that would have been such a massive mistake, and it wasn't like tons of things happened after correcting this. It was just the 2 companies that were insolvent got some cash. Okay, so this is it, and this is the end of this cycle of ORs. And I think at that point I'm gonna load this up, and yeah, I'm gonna load this up now, and then we're gonna see probably just a short video next turn, or the next time when these guys bring the game to an end. The map is frozen. We're gonna see nothing happening there anymore. Well, actually, I think I can play this to an end now. There is not a lot going on. We have just basically writing down the revenue. We have to wait until these 2 companies here, which are insolvent, until they buy a train, which will happen probably in the upcoming, these guys. Yeah, with them it will still go on for a little longer, but yeah, so it will take a little longer for them. But in the end, it's going to be, I think we're going to see just 2 more standard operating rounds where basically companies just run and the others will simply buy the trains, and then we come to the nationalization. So, I'm going to load this up. Yeah, I'm going to load it up, and so I don't get into time trouble next time. So I hope to see you then, or on lonesomegamer.com. Bye.